It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
What's up? Sorry I'm late, y'all. Sorry I've been late. Past couple of mornings. Your time is important to me. Some of y'all are packing lunches for summer camp. Some of y'all are getting those kids out of bed. Good morning, Debbie and Nelson Nicole. Good morning, Meg D. Bartlett. Twitch checking in. What up, Denise? 2022. Good to see you. Yeah, your time is very valuable to me, right? What up, Charlie the Brit 94? What's up? Good morning. So a lot going on in the headlines. First, I want to start off by saying that I ain't looking like I'm gonna be able to live stream tomorrow. For those who know me personally, y'all know my personal life, a lot going on. Everything's good. I'm healthy. I'm good. I'm straight. I'm a hustler. I'm a survivor. I ain't gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder, all that. What up, B-Man? What's up, Tom? Drop in the chat if you got more developments from our conversation yesterday. All right. Oh, look at Kia. Go ahead, girl. Got Yoshi dancing on my head. Thank you for the subscription. Subscriptions matter, guys. That's how I make this sustainable. So your $4.99 sub, your 1 month, 2 month, 3 month sub really helps me get up, do this, have the time. Good morning, Anna Marks. Good morning. What up, David Gads? What up, old St. Andrews alum? What's up, David? Good morning. So tomorrow's live stream, not really certain. I won't be here in this space, so I'm not really certain. So I'll keep y'all updated. Worst case scenario, I'll keep y'all updated. Don't worry about that. If I do hit up the live, it will look very different, and just roll with me. But I wanted to get into something very important. If you went to bed last night watching the 11 o'clock news, you saw, if you've been watching news for the past several months, you've seen some consistent news being reported, which is crime. You're seeing an uptick in crime, shootings here, shootings in North Charleston, shootings in West Ashley, shootings downtown Charleston on the peninsula. The headlines are inescapable. They're scary, and I want to sit here right now before I even jump into my distilling of the media and where I think our focus should be. I want to just say here, I want to legitimize your fears. I want to acknowledge that your fears are valid. As a person who's I've lived for 10 years in Philly. I've got a few friends in Philly still, right, that I consider family. And this past summer, and even before the summer, the violence in Philly, I see you, B-Man on Twitch. The violence in Philly was really, really, really scary for my friends who didn't even live in the quote unquote rough side of the tracks, I guess, or the rough side of town. It's just been really, really scary. Also, I have a brother out in Illinois, the Chicago area, Atlanta. No really major metropolitan area has been exempt from what we're seeing. But I think it's important to do two things: to resist the framing from mainstream media sources. And this is not me. I want to be very careful, because what we're seeing is real. The shootings are happening. These things are occurring. These violent acts are occurring. But we have to resist the frame. We have to challenge the framing that mainstream media tends to rely upon, right? Remember, one of the priorities of media, news, television media, even though we've got very capable and competent journalists and newscasters and anchors that work for News 2, Live 5, the other two are Sinclair Station, News 2, Live 5. We know that we have very capable and competent news anchors, but we also know that they have to get clicks and they have to get eyes, and they have to, and that fear is something that you can tap into within your viewership, that anxiety gets people to watch more, right? we saw this during the Trump administration, and like you just couldn't rip yourself away from the television. We have to really challenge the framing of our our mainstream media outlets, and we have to start asking more critical questions. We have to start asking more critical questions and looking at this violence from a myriad of perspectives. We have to ask, okay, what we have to ask folks, demand that our law enforcement officials who, like Luther Reynolds, we're going to get into his comments from last night's shooting. We have to challenge Luther Reynolds to say, I hear you, but specify, what are we seeing? What are the trends we're seeing, right? And so on and so forth. So today's live stream is all about what we saw last night. I am going to reference, shout out to Allie last night with, I don't want to mess up your acronym, Allie. Let me switch up the scenes real quick. Good morning, good morning. So I don't want to mess up the acronym. Allie last night with the sc4cjr.org. All right, South Carolina for Criminal Justice Reform, Fairness, Awareness, Change. Allie is a rock star. I think Allie is someone who I consider to be extraordinarily compassionate, caring, thoughtful, present, willing to actually use her skill set and the group skill set to have a more nuanced discussion around police violence. And last night they held this event. You know, the title of the event got me up from gate: Prosecuting Cops Who Kill, right? A legal analysis of South Carolina law and the Jamal Sutherland case. And she brought in, you know, some colleagues of hers, and it was a really informative discussion. I participated in the chat. I thought it was thoughtful. I do have some takeaways because if you want to tell people what I do every morning when I hop on a live stream, if you want to tell people, well, what does Tamika do? Is she just a podcast host? Is she just a Twitch streamer? I want you to kind of say, I want you to say whatever you want to say, but say this too. I want you to challenge everything, right? Not to be a jerk, not needlessly, but I need you to, when you listen to even your friends, even co-conspirators, even these accomplices, you need to look at it with a specific lens. You need to make sure that you have a very strong race analysis when you're viewing things. You need to make sure that you have a Black liberation analysis when you're viewing things. If you are politically aligned with me, right? I'm an abolitionist. I'm fighting for Black liberation, right? All that. And so I would say that this event is something I want everyone to go back and watch. I'm going to try. I don't know. I shared it last night many times. I suggest everyone watch it from start to finish. Let it play, put in some ear pods, and just go about your business. If you can't sit and watch it, it's extraordinarily important to see this breakdown. But what I wanted to say, and I hope Allie receives this in good faith, we have to stop being so delicate around we got to stop putting an emphasis on being delicate when discussing extrajudicial killings of Black and brown people at the hands of the state, right? We have to be very, very, very direct. And I think you can be bold. I think you can be brave, courageous, and direct without doing what I do, right? I know I lob Molotov cocktails. I know. I'm not expecting you to be a bridge burner, a fire breather. I'm not expecting that, but there is an expectation from me as someone who's trying to be a more trusted voice in the community, who's trying to be a gadfly, a social irritant, someone like me who's trying to also build credibility between myself and my community. It's important for people like me to see you all be courageous, because there has to be some courageousness there. And I think that one of my biggest takeaways, and I know I wasn't alone because I got some texts, is that we were too, and I said this in the chat, a little too gracious regarding Scarlett Wilson. A little too gracious. I understand you don't want it. You can't, the organization probably has a certain designation. You can't traffic in partisan politics. I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting any type of partisan, breakdown of what happened. But I think you can be nonpartisan and call it like it is. And I think there was this emphasis placed on framing Scarlett Wilson as, giving her the benefit of the doubt. I don't need to hear that when we're talking about a dead 31-year-old man who had no criminal record. Right? I don't need to hear about, like we have to stop doing that. I don't know why we do that. And I see this mostly in white curated spaces where I think people think that, to be seen as credible, that means you can't be critical. And I'm trying to show y'all that critical voices have always existed in Charleston, have always been present, have held down positions of leadership, have been looked at as legitimate leaders. These voices have been here historically. We know this, and so we need to, when we're talking about extrajudicial killings of Black people, when we're talking about police violence, right? When we're talking about violence from the state enacted on our children in our schools, we got to call it like it is, right? And it made me think of MLK's letter from a Birmingham jail. Like the white moderates, y'all are, and I know it wasn't an all white panel, right? I know we got a sister here, and like I said, everyone was exceptional because they bring a legal analysis that I don't have. I didn't go to law school. I don't know what Law and Order, like The Wire. I don't know, like just things like that's the most like I don't have that. And it was really, really thoughtfully planned and coordinated. But we've got to stop being so gracious when it comes to someone who, and I don't expect them to say, well, Scarlett messed up. I don't expect them to say that explicitly, but you need to say it. Actually, I do expect that's the whole point of me saying this. I do expect you to say that there were missed opportunities. And what I felt was like there were a number of statutes presented, and I felt like the legal analysis offered during the event was, well, none of these applied and it wouldn't have worked. Bullshit. It would have worked. Something would have worked. Try something. You didn't try anything. And like what we saw in the 2016 opening statements with the Walter Slager, excuse me. Oh, I keep doing that. I did it yesterday. Forgive me. I know I keep conflating Walter Scott and Michael Slager. Excuse me. Michael Slager, his trial, as we saw with Scarlett Wilson in her opening remarks, we see that there's a person there doing something, being very political. There's a woman there choosing to be very political by seemingly throwing the case during her opening remarks. Her cavalier attitude, her nonchalant, and I'm not saying that that's what she did with the Jamal Sutherland case. We didn't see too much, but we did. We saw a woman drag her feet for how many months? Jamal Sutherland died on January 5th. It's July. It's almost August. It'll be August this weekend, right? And we just now got some sort of conclusion that was unjust, right? So there's timing, and I heard a lot of complimentary language, and that's troublesome to me. So this is why I avoid certain groups, because if you have a funder that I'm not insinuating that, but if there's another influence there, if there's another balancing act going on there, I can't be caught up in your I can't. This is part of the reason why I don't really join in a lot of things, because if the courage isn't there, or if the plain talking ain't there, I can't really deal with it. That's just not where I'm at 40 years old. I can't deal with it. Does that make sense? Good morning. Cat on Twitch, you said an interesting discussion. I appreciate that they walk through different levels of what the officers could have been charged for. I agree. There was a lot of caution around what was said, and I don't think it was necessary. Right. It was like an unnecessary amount of caution, if that makes any. Oh, shoot. Am I still there? Am I still here? Have I been going in and out? Let me know. I just saw it like Facebook went out. Let me know. I don't know if give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if I'm good on Twitch. Give me a thumbs up on Facebook if I'm good. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so B-Man, you said Wilson is using her power to do nothing. That's your main takeaway. She could have done something. That's my point, right? We've seen this, like following Freddie Gray in Baltimore, right? We've seen Mosley. Thank you. Whiskey Neat, you agree. Whiskey Neat on Twitch, you agree. Yes, y'all drop on Facebook. Please drop me something in the chat. Let me know I'm good, that you can see me on Facebook. Thank you over here. Thank you. Twitch is always on point. Gotta get Facebook there. Y'all gotta be my executive producers. Yep, look at all of them. Okay, look at them thumbs. But yeah, there was just a lot of caution, and I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. And it was like, oh, there was a lot of preparation and time. Like, I don't need to hear about how much time Scarlett Wilson spent on. That's her job. This is an explosive case. I I expect her to be detail oriented. I expect her to be extraordinarily thorough to some degree, right? But we also know that Scarlett Wilson has a track record that's my whole thing. So just and I want to say this last thing, and then I'll move on to the violence part because I don't have like thank you, Meg. I'm gonna move on to the violence, the uptick in violence, and breaking that down. But I'm gonna say this, I know I complain a lot about, I don't get invited, because I don't, right? I don't get invited. I'm not on those lists. I never was 40 under 40. I never was 12 leaders to watch. I never make any of those lists, right? Because I understand intellectually, I understand, but the reason why I talk the way I do is because there is no other progressive voices talking like this consistently enough and building out a platform. I don't see it. I'm not exposed to it. I know they exist. I'm just not exposed to it, right? So I feel like there's a need here in this media market to really challenge some popular narratives. And I understand that comes at a cost, that what I'm saying is not largely popular to some folks. But another reason why I do this is a form of harm reduction. So you know exactly where I stand. And so you don't bring me into the BS. You don't bring me into the nonprofit industrial complex and all of that chicanery, right? All right, so that's why it's a form of harm reduction. You know exactly what I am. You know it's like learning how to identify a certain snake when you're taking a walk outside. Like, okay, all right, black, orange stripe, okay, non-venomous, but I ain't really gonna mess with it. I'm like, Mika, venomous, spits a lot of fire. Okay, yeah. I do that as a form of harm reduction so that you don't come to me and bring me into spaces, because I think a lot of these spaces tend to, again, put an emphasis on white comfort, put an emphasis on palatability. And what that does is cause harm to someone like me, who is facing risk at the hands of the police state, right? If that makes any sense. All right, I'm gonna chill right there. Excellent event. You need this legal framing. You need this legal analysis. We don't need the extra caution around Scarlett Wilson's job. We don't need so much praise heaped on her, how much time she took. That goes without saying. Y'all are lawyers. Y'all already have a great reputation. ACLU has a solid reputation. We don't need to heap praise on somebody who to me was negligent. All right, that's just me, and I think that is harmful to Black people who encounter this type of violence. And I'm talking about the representational violence of not seeing justice served. That's what that does. So that's my takeaway from that, and I hope that was taken in good faith. I had this open for a reason because I was trying to find some statistics from some things from last year so last year, y'all see this Domino's pizza tracker right here where it says police bias, Wendy's graphs. Wendy Shriver was brought in to the police department around the time of the police audit, this Charleston Police Department audit, way back a couple years ago. Wendy Shriver was brought in from, I believe, Ohio. Wendy Shriver, not a fan. She came in and part of her job was to address the findings within the audit. The findings, of course, the biggest finding was, there's racial bias here. And, cops stopping Black people disproportionately. There's a use of force issue. We don't keep any of our videos from our stop. We don't release any of our body cam footage, right? So all those things were in the audit. And I know that was a very, very sloppy framing, but they found all these things in the audit. And so Wendy was brought in to be, I guess, a solution. And I think Wendy was chosen because of how she looks. I think Wendy was chosen to be to look like this progressive cop image, tattoo sleeves, short hair, younger vibe. I don't know Wendy's pronouns, but at least somewhat feminine presenting. And I think all of that was specific. And then when she was talking about her progress in terms of the recommendations that she incorporated and following through on those action items, from the recommendations, she had these really basic graphs that looked like Domino's pizza trackers. And it was so unsophisticated. And I'm like, after all this money was poured into this audit, after all these headlines, you gonna sit there and give me a graph that I could have did on Canva in y'all know how good I am in Canva, but let's just say it looked like a Domino's pizza tracker. It was really underwhelming. And so I was trying to find that because it actually ties directly with what I'm trying to talk about today. All right. Good morning, Joy Brown on Facebook. All right, but I can't find it. I mean, even when I'm just talking in here in my clip here. So I've been looking at my face, y'all. I'm a wild chick. Like I still don't really. I'm just. My face is just crazy. Look at me. I'm so cute. I'm so cute. This one right here. Oh my God. This girl, please get her off camera. Get her off camera. All right. So I'll either find it or I'll come back to it. So let's get into it. Thank you for the heart, D Bartlett. All right, let's get into it. We're not gonna go there. Yeah, white people, white viewers, go ahead and watch, read, access, podcast. You can find a letter from the Birmingham jail. You can find it being read in so many different forms. Go ahead and listen to that. If you're white and you're advocating for around Black issues or issues that deal with Black people and Black communities, if you're white and you're in social justice on the periphery or in the middle of it, this is your monthly reminder to go ahead and read a letter from Birmingham jail. Like, please do that. All right, so this was the news from last night.
Reynolds, Chief of Police, City of Charleston.
You got Councilman Mitchell right here. This is Luther Reynolds. Look at the headline is Charleston Police Department Chief Reynolds presser after five shot on Hanover. I don't know if that means after 5 p.m. or did they mean there were a number of shootings, y'all. It was a lot of shootings.
All right, my name is Luther Reynolds, Chief of Police, City of Charleston. We have a violent crime problem in our nation. We have a violent crime problem in our state, and we have a violent crime.
Listen very carefully. He's outlining a very, and this is interesting. Look at his tenacity. Look at his fervor. We're not going to watch the whole thing.
In the Low Country region, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. 2019, the numbers went up. The numbers went up in 2020. It was the highest recorded in the state of South Carolina. Chief Keel did a press conference recently and talked about, we started collecting data in 1960, and this year, 2020, last year, was the highest number of homicides, shootings, and violence in this state.
Shout out Saint Facade. You said you had family over on Hanover, for sure.
2021 is on record to be much worse.
I am keeping your family in my head today, in my heart. Hopefully everyone's safe over there.
Significant increases from 19 to 20. So as I stand here on this corner,
listen.
I want to bring attention to these shootings. I want to put a face on some of these victims. They all involve something to the degree of gangs, guns, and things like retaliations, drugs, and we're getting younger and younger people that are involved in these crimes.
Okay, I want to stop it right there because this is the presser, and y'all, I guess you know how they do. They let him rock. This is a 17-minute clip. Of course, we're not going to watch the whole 17-minute clip, but I'll fast forward it to the end to see if there's some questions going back and forth. But they usually let this man talk without checking. I hope someone's jotting down some of the statistics. But I want to back up. Actually, I want to back up. So he's right. You're not going to hear me say that too often, right? Luther Reynolds is right. Starting in 2019, 2020 during the pandemic,